Before you watch this video, understand one thing very clearly. This is not just another murder story. This is the true account of a family that lived in complete isolation, where strange footsteps were heard in the dead of night, where fear slowly entered the house, and where the killer may have been watching them long before the crime ever happened. In 1922, on a quiet farm called Hinterkaifeck, 6 people were brutally murdered, yet no one was ever caught. No witness, no clear suspect, and no final answers. What makes this case terrifying is not how they died, but what may have happened after their deaths. Stay with me till the end, because this mystery is still unsolved, and the truth might be darker than you imagine. April 1922, Germany's countryside is silent, isolated, and unforgiving. Miles away from the nearest village stands a lonely farmstead, known as Hinterkaifeck, surrounded by thick forest, cold winds, and absolute isolation. No streetlights, no nearby neighbors, just darkness and distance. On the surface, it looks peaceful, but peace can be deceiving. In the days before the murders, something deeply unsettling begins to happen. Footprints suddenly appear in the snow, clear, heavy, steps leading toward the farmhouse. But there is one detail that makes the blood run cold. There are no footprints leading away. Someone walked to Hinterkaifeck and never left. At the time, no one could imagine that this quiet farm would soon become the site of one of the most disturbing unsolved murder cases in European history. A crime so chilling that more than 100 years later, it is once again haunting audiences in the UK and the US. As days pass, the family living at Hinterkaifeck begins to sense that something is terribly wrong. They hear footsteps above them in the attic, slow, deliberate movements that stop the moment anyone tries to investigate. They search the attic. Nothing. No intruder, no explanation. Then more strange things begin to happen. House keys vanish. Tools are moved. A newspaper appears from a town none of the family members have visited. It is as if someone is quietly entering their home, studying them, learning their routine. The family grows uneasy, but they do not leave, because in isolated places, fear becomes something you learn to live with. And whoever was watching them knew that. On the night of the murders, the farmhouse falls into deadly silence. One by one, members of the family are lured into the barn. There is no scream, no sign of panic, no chaos heard across the fields. Each victim is killed using the same farming tool, a weapon chosen not for speed, but for certainty. Even the children, even the maid, who had only arrived that very day, unaware that Hinterkaifeck would become her final destination. This was not a random attack. This was not an accident. It was careful, it was controlled, and it was done by someone who felt comfortable enough to take their time. But what truly separates the Hinterkaifeck murders from every other case is what happened after the killings. Evidence strongly suggests that the murderer did not flee. Instead, someone stayed inside the farmhouse for several days. They fed the animals, they cooked meals, they moved through the rooms as if nothing had happened, sleeping, eating, living, all while the bodies of the victims lay nearby. This detail transforms the case from murder into something far more terrifying, because only someone deeply familiar with the farm and unafraid of discovery could do something like this. When the crime is finally discovered, the damage is already done. Villagers, neighbors, and officials walk freely through the farm. Evidence is touched, clues are destroyed. The crime scene becomes hopelessly contaminated before proper investigation can begin. Suspects emerge, family members, neighbors, former workers. Accusations are whispered, interrogations are conducted, but nothing sticks. No confession, no arrest, no conviction. The case collapses into silence, and more than a century later, one terrifying question still remains unanswered. If the killer knew the farm so well and stayed after the murders, who were they and how close were they to the family of Hinterkaifeck? As investigators begin digging deeper, a terrifying realization slowly emerges. This was not a crime committed in panic. This was not an act of sudden rage. Every movement inside the farmhouse suggests patience. The killer knew exactly where to stand. Exactly when to strike, exactly how to avoid making noise in the dead of night. There are no signs of forced entry, no broken locks, no shattered windows, which means the door was opened willingly or the killer already had access, and that single detail shifts the entire case from mystery to betrayal, because the most dangerous threats are never the ones outside the door. They are the ones already inside. Suspicion spreads through the nearby villages like a sickness. Neighbors begin watching neighbors. Families stop trusting one another. Every familiar face suddenly feels dangerous. Some believe the killer was someone seeking revenge, others suspect a hidden family secret, something so dark it ended in bloodshed. But the most disturbing theory refuses to disappear. What if the murderer was someone the victims trusted so completely that they followed them into the barn without resistance, no screams, no struggle, just obedience? And that thought alone is enough to haunt anyone who hears the story. Asterisk, despite massive public pressure, the investigation collapses under its own. Wait, key suspects die before being questioned. Witness statements contradict each other. Critical evidence vanishes forever. At one point, authorities even reopen the case decades later, hoping that modern analysis might finally expose the truth. But time has erased too much. Memories fade, documents disappear, graves stay silent, and the killer remains just a shadow that history cannot catch. Asterisk today. Hinterkaifeck no longer exists. The farmhouse was torn down, the land reclaimed by nature, as if the earth itself wanted to erase what happened there. But erasing the location did not erase the horror. The case resurfaces again and again in documentaries, podcasts, and police discussions because it represents humanity's greatest fear, that someone can commit absolute evil and walk away forever. No justice, no closure, only questions. Asterisk, more than 100 years later, the Hinterkaifeck murders remain officially unsolved. No confirmed killer, no proven motive, no final answer. Only a farmhouse where an entire family was wiped out, and a killer who may have watched the sunrise the next morning, calm, undisturbed, free. And that is what makes this case truly terrifying. Not the weapon, not the location, but the fact that someone somewhere knew the truth and took it to the grave. This is not just a crime story. This is a reminder. Some mysteries are not meant to be solved. They are meant to haunt us.